Hi there. Today we are looking at section 4.4, which continues our study of congruent triangles. Today we're going to be looking at ways of proving triangles congruent in addition to the side, 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 and side angle side methods that we learned in the previous lesson. This lesson covers congruence of triangles with what's called ASA, which is angle, side, angle, and AAS, which is angle, angle, side. So let's take a look at how this works. Over here, again, I have a couple of triangles, and the first one we're looking at is angle, side, angle. So I'm going to mark this angle to this angle, this side to this side, and this angle to this angle. Now, you'll notice what we have here is an angle, a side, and an angle congruent to an angle, a side, and an angle. Angle, side, angle. Notice that the side, the congruent side, is right in between the two congruent angles. Just as it's written here, angle, side, angle, you see that the side is right in between the two congruent angles. All right? Now, we can write then triangle ABE is congruent to triangle SUE, SUE. Okay, so ABE is congruent to SUE, angle, side, angle. And again, if one of the angles was not there, if it was, well, let's do it a little differently. Let's say that side was not the one congruent. Let's say it was this side. Okay, now we don't have the same situation. We don't have angle, side, angle because angle, this side is not congruent to this side, and so it's actually angle, angle, side. But we're going to talk about that in just a moment. So, going back to the way that was, just to put it back together again. All right, we have that and we have that. Angle, side, angle. Now let's go down here to these two triangles. Angle here to angle here, angle here to angle here, and a side over here to a side here. Now what we have is an angle, and a side. This side is not congruent to this side, so we don't include it. But the next item around, if we work our way around here from this angle to this angle, the next thing around is a side. Angle, angle, side to angle, angle, side. And notice in this case, the side is not between the two angles. If it was, it would be here, and we would have this, but we don't. All right. Now we can say triangle JOE is congruent to triangle AMY. So we have Joe is congruent to Amy. Up here, Abe is congruent to Sue. All right. Angle, side, angle, and angle, angle, side. Now let's take a look at a proof. Over here on your right, if you look over here, we have two triangles here, ABD and EBC. And we have AD is parallel to EC. So this is parallel to this. And we have BD is congruent to BC, so BD is congruent to BC. Okay, now let's see if we draw the two-column proof over here, statements and reasons. Number one, we will put in the given AD is parallel to EC, and BD is congruent to BC. Let's fix that. Okay, that's given. Now, we need, remember, a side, an angle, and a side, or three sides, or two angles and a side. We need three parts. Up until this point, we need three parts to prove triangles congruent. All we have at the moment is one part, a side. So if we could get the other two sides, these two and these two, we could do it that way, side, side, side. But we don't have that information. So we're going to have to go with angles, and we do have some information about angles. Let's first look here. We have vertical angles here. So we have angle ABD, and angle EBC are vertical angles. And that is definition of vertical angles. All right. Now that we've established their vertical angles, let's establish that they're congruent. Angle ABD is congruent to angle EBC, and the reason for that is vertical angles theorem. So now I'm going to mark these two. And by the way, I strongly suggest that you mark up the drawing so that you can visually look at what it is that you have and what it is that you still need. We now have an angle and a side. We need another angle. We've already decided we can't get another side. But we have a piece of information we haven't used yet, and that is AD is parallel to EC. This is parallel to this, and if you'll recall back to parallel lines, that should give us some information about angles. And in fact, alternate interior angles, if you look at this as the transversal, then that would give us this to this. And if you look at this as the transversal, that would give us this to this. Now, in either case it will work. If you use this angle, you have angle, angle, side. And that's one of our congruences. If you use this angle, you have angle, side, angle. And that's one of our congruences. So, having put the first one in, I'm just going to leave it that way, and we will state that angle A is congruent to angle E, angle A congruent to angle E, and the reason for that is alternate interior angles, A, I, A. Okay, not the converse. We're not trying to prove lines parallel. We already know they're parallel. So this is alternate interior angles, and number 5. Now, let's go back over here and see what we have. And I like to make the marks over here. We have a side, BD to BC. There's an S. We have an angle, and that was the vertical angles. So I'm going to put an A here. And over here we have another angle. So we have 2 angles on a side. Now the question is, what order are we going to put them in? Therefore, which one of the 4 congruences are we going to use? Angle, angle, side to angle, angle, side. So our reason here is going to be AAS, and we have now established triangle ABD is congruent to triangle EBC. And let's make sure that we name those correctly. That's what we were supposed to do here. ABD, triangle ABD, is congruent to, here, I really should have marked these double because I have the single marks here, is congruent to, now if we go double mark, down to single mark, and then across the side, we need to do the same thing here. So EBC starts at the double angle mark, goes to the single angle, single marked angle, and then over the side. So we have EBC, and that is the way we wrote it. So there's your proof. Once again, you're going to find that the information is not all spelled out for you. You have to do some digging, you have to do some looking to figure out how you can use the given information. In this case, we had the parallel lines which allowed us to establish these 2 angles congruent, and we had the vertical angles which allowed us to establish those 2 angles congruent. So look for the information you're given and make sure that you are making use of it. Here, here, and you will find that all the information is available as long as you make good use of it. This concludes section 4.4. Thank you very much.